Is heat training damaging for your hair? Let's have the conversation. On this channel, I talk a lot about being a straight haired natural, but as someone who didn't intend to become a straight haired natural, I had a lot of misconceptions about heat training your hair, and I want to talk about some of the good, the bad, would I recommend it, how do I feel about it, clear up some misconceptions so we can all get on the same page about heat training. When I started this heat training journey, I was scared that I was going to lose my curls and damage my hair. And that was my biggest fear when it came to that. But at the same time, in my mind, I was like, I just need to get my hair together. So I was willing to go on this journey to see how it went. And I'm actually really glad that I decided to do so. When I first started my straight hair natural journey, it was by happenstance. I started my journey because I went to a hairstylist and I just didn't know what I wanted to do with my hair anymore. I figured, you know what, I think I'm just gonna rock my hair straight for a while and from now on and just see how that goes. I didn't do it for hair growth. I just did it for convenience. And in that journey, as I was talking to my hairstylist, she told me that I had to get heat trained if I wanted to continue this journey of straightening my hair. Let me just read the definition of heat trained hair. So heat trained hair refers to hair that has been repeatedly exposed to high heat from styling tools such as flat irons, curling irons, and blow dryers. This prolonged exposure causes change in hair structure. In essence, you're repeatedly using heat on your hair, and that in turn does loosen your curls, and it makes it easier and easier for you to straighten your hair and for your hair to remain straight when you do it. Before I was heat trained, I would straighten my hair and just a drop of heat, my hair would like crazy. But since I've heat trained my hair, now I don't worry as much when I go out in the heat because I know that my hair can withstand that heat because it's used to heat. Now, as she was talking me through being heat trained, one of the things that I did worry about was heat damage. And let me just say, heat damage is different from heat trained hair. Let me read what heat damage is. Heat damage occurs when excessive heat is applied to hair, causing severe damage that is difficult to repair. It's in the process of heat training your hair. Maybe you had a misstep and it caused damage to your hair. So it's when the heat causes damage. And that damage is pretty much difficult to repair. It's not reversible. And a lot of times that just means you have to cut off that heat damage and start all over. Heat training, on the other hand, involves a more controlled and gradual process that aims to alter the hair's texture without causing significant damage. However, it's still crucial to use heat protectant products and follow proper styling techniques to minimize the risk of heat damage. As I mentioned before, it's a gradual process and you're doing this gradual process in a safe way, or the safest way as you possibly can. So for myself, this looked like working with a professional, and this is what I recommend for anybody who wants to go on this 4C straight hair journey, is to work with a professional when it comes to this type of thing, because they're going to help you do this process without damage to your hair. But make sure you're working with a professional that works with 4C hair, because you could work with a professional and they could end up damaging your hair even worse. Make sure that you vet the professional that you're working with so that you're not working with someone who will then damage your hair with heat. I want to talk about some of the positives and the negatives. Now that my hair has been heat trained for over 6 years, do I recommend it? Do I regret it? What is my hair like? Has it damaged my hair? All that stuff. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the benefits. So I already mentioned one of the benefits, and that is that heat is no longer like the enemy when it comes to being outside. I mentioned this in my last video about humidity. When your hair is heat trained, it makes it easier for your hair to withstand the heat. And that's one thing that I really appreciate, because as I mentioned before, my hair would not function in that heat. It would. And so that has been a really great benefit, is that I'm not as scared or worried when I'm outside for a longer period of time, because I know that my hair can withstand that heat. Another positive is it makes my flat iron process so much easier. It's just a smoother process when it comes to that. Heat training my hair has helped so much with the detangling process. My hair is not getting tangled and knotting into itself as much now that I'm heat trained. my hair is just so much easier to manage and to detangle for myself. Again, this is just my experience and I'm just sharing my thoughts. Let's talk about some of the negatives. This may not be negatives for some people, for others it may be negatives. When it comes to heat treating your hair, your curl pattern will change. My curl pattern, I feel like got a little bit looser, although I would still consider my hair 4C. I'll kind of show you clips of my recent wash day. My hair is still very, very curly, but I feel like the curls are looser and hang a little bit more. So for some people that could be a negative. Maybe they want to make sure that they keep their hair pattern, but it will stretch out your hair pattern a little bit. Another negative could be if you do utilize the wrong tool. If you don't do it properly, you can damage your hair. You can damage your curls. You can end up having to cut your hair off because you're not doing it properly. And that's why, especially on this channel, I demonstrate the ways to properly utilize heat with your hair and to also make sure that you are working with a professional when it comes to these type of things, because I don't know where my hair would be if I had not started working with a professional. When it comes to heat training, you still want to make sure that you are protecting your hair, that you're really taking care of your hair, especially when you're about to utilize heat. I use 2 to 3 heat protectants on my hair when I'm about to use heat because I don't play. I'll play on my hair. You want to make sure that you are really taking time to protect your hair. So again, we're not causing any type of damage. When it comes to heat training your hair, you want to make sure that you are using high quality products, high quality tools. You will damage your hair if you use low grade flat irons or blow dryers. You want to make sure you're using high quality ceramic, titanium, high quality flat irons, making sure you're reading reviews. I swear by Babyliss. That has been my tried and true. I've been using that for over 6 years. But make sure you're using high quality tools for your hair. Also, as I mentioned before, make sure that you're using heat protectants. You want to use good heat protectants that don't weigh your hair down, because that is a no-no. You want to utilize at least 2 heat protectants in your hair. That's what I found works for me, and I share like my wash day videos and all that stuff in some other videos that I have, so feel free to check those out. Also, you want to make sure that your hair is fully dry before you're putting stuff like flat irons in your hair. That could damage your hair again. So make sure that your hair is fully dry. After you wash it, you blow dry it and it's fully dry before you start flat ironing that hair. Again, that's another thing that could cause some damage to your hair. And we don't want that. We don't want no damage. One more thing I forgot to mention is that you want to make sure that you are using these heat products on clean hair. Make sure your hair is clean before putting these products or heat styling tools or things like that in your hair. I hope you found this video helpful and it cleared up any misconceptions or questions that you have about heat training your hair. If you have any additional questions, always feel free to ask me in the comments and I will try to answer as best as possible. See you guys in the next video.